74 years ago, this country was in absolute shock. The Japanese had just launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, and we were in World War II. Today, there was a ceremony here in Albuquerque to honor those who lost their lives that day and those who fought to see another day. We were there and focused on two men. The man on the left lived it. The man on the right learned of it through his dad. Let's start with Charlie Wieland.
The young people just don't know anything about Pearl Harbor.
Charlie was right there.
I was in Pearl Harbor on to San Francisco.
The ship had just been unloaded, stripped, and was about to go into dry dock to be repainted.
When this all happened,
Nearly 400 Japanese warplanes in a sneak attack on the home port of the U.S. Pacific Fleet in Hawaii. 2,400 Americans killed, another 1,200 wounded. While the U.S. fleet was ravaged, the San Francisco survived. The paint job canceled.
what took us about 3-4 weeks to unload, it took us about 3 days to load it up because they worked our fannies off day and night till food, ammunition, everything was put back aboard. And by the 17th, we were underway.
Charlie Wieland survived the attack and the war. So did Joe Davis's dad, Harold Dixon Davis. He's now 95, living in Ohio. On the date which will live on in infamy, he was on the USS Nevada.
I spoke to him yesterday. He asked me what I was doing today. And he said, you know, it's been a long time. And he said, I think it's about 74 years. And I hadn't calculated, but I assumed he was right. And he says, you know, I remember it like it was just yesterday.
Joe says his dad never talked to him about Pearl Harbor until Joe was in his 50s. He'll never forget his dad's story about looking into the eyes of one of the Japanese attackers.
It was about 5 minutes after 8. The ship was hit by a torpedo.
Hit by a torpedo, and he said his dad looked up and he could see the pilot's eyes, the Japanese pilot who had dropped that torpedo that hit the ship. Joe Davis says as his dad gets older, what happened at Pearl Harbor seems to take on a new meaning. He speaks at schools now, describing to children what it was like. And our interview with Charlie Wieland was tough because Charlie can barely hear now. He's still a tough guy, though. He's 93, but still does 75 push-ups every day.